I had a couple problems in the mornings, and I thought, is this kind of giving me a little bit of a clue here? So I feel it was, and we don't need to focus on the songs in the morning. We'll just do our meditation. Let me get this straightened up just a little bit here, and so we're good. Actually, I'm gonna move this to a little bit different angle. That I want my candle in too, my lotus candle, so you see the light, the candle light there. So, okay, well, let's see here. I'm going to give it just 1 minute. Since we're not doing our song, I want to give everybody just a minute to join in. So we'll start in just a moment here. And we're going to be starting in just a moment. I'm not doing the song anymore, so we'll just give it another half minute or so, and then we'll get going. And whoever's out there, probably Michelle, thank you for joining, my friend. Thank you, whoever is out there, and somebody's joining us on YouTube as well. So I think we'll go ahead and get going. And thank you for joining this morning. It's actually a pretty sunshiny day out there today in Metro Detroit. It's going to be up to, I think, might get up to 60 today. So we've had some cold weather, so that's nice. Okay, well, let's go ahead and meditate and see where this meditation goes. So if you haven't already got yourself nice and comfortable, just taking in a nice deep breath. And just really being present here, right now, in this moment. And at least for right now, there's nowhere you need to go, and there's nothing you need to do. And I invite you to let go of all the trying, all the effort. It's not required for this meditation. And when we're flowing with life, it's actually not required for life either. It only becomes effortful when we fight our mind and ego of wanting life to be different than what it is. Then there is effort, there's struggle, there's stress. And so letting go of all of the past, just really letting it go, emptying out. And really, I'm inviting you to not hold on to anything at all. Not for this meditation, not for life itself. Life doesn't require us to hold on to any of our past in order to be fully present and extract the juice out of the moment. It doesn't require any of that. And we think we have to carry our past experiences, or honestly, even our knowledge or memories and experiences, even all of those things. None of those are required. And the mind might say, come on, that's nonsense. You're telling me that if I don't carry my memories forward, all the knowledge that I've learned, then I will be just a blob of nothing. But just reflecting on what we say quite often is, when this physical form dies and the physical mind dies, what is the intelligence that continues on? How can we access memories if it all comes from our physical mind? Yes, our mind has a capacity, of course, to store things. But what is it that stores it beyond our physical form? That's what we're exploring here. We get so caught up in being our physicalness, but it's only when we let go of our identification with the physicalness, as well as the mental and emotional, But all those things are required to empty out and let go of those past beliefs so that we can recognize the very truth that we are right now in this moment and in every moment. So right now I invite you just to let go of those beliefs, those ideas, those stories that you have carried around for so long. All those stories that say, if somebody asked you who you were, well, I'm this, I'm that, and all those stories that come from a belief or an idea of who you think you are. Just letting go of all of that. And as always, I never ask you to believe anything that I share. I'm not here to persuade you or convince you of anything. We're just exploring. I'm just inviting you to come out and play. You want to come out and play and just go on this little adventure to see where it goes, what the infinite possibilities are? My teacher once said that when you move beyond the limitations of the mind, there's absolutely nothing that you cannot accomplish. If you want to touch the far side of the moon, you can touch the far side of the moon. If you want to see the end of the galaxy, you can see the end of the galaxy. Because we're only limited by the physical form as far as experiencing anything in this galaxy. And of course we're limited by our beliefs that say that we can't do all things that Jesus has done and even greater things. Those are his words. So what is it that we're holding on to right now that is blocking us? What is it that you're holding on to that's blocking you from realizing the truth of who you are that's here right now, that is you right now? Perhaps you're waiting for something. Perhaps you're saying, when I get my job in order, when I get the right job, doing what I really want to do, then I'll be happy. Who is that that's saying, when I am able to do what I want to do? Is that you? Or is it an idea of who you are? Is it an idea of what you think, what your small self thinks that you need in order to be happy? We carry all these labels of who we are and who we are supposed to be and how we are supposed to be. And the mind gets bored. It gets bored with our relationship with ourselves and our relationship with others, because much of what's said, if we're being honest with each other, much of what's said is just a lot of regurgitated old information and beliefs and ideas of who we think we are and how we're supposed to be and who we're supposed to be. I'm inviting you to let go of all of that so that you can return to a place of innocence where each moment is fresh and new. How interesting is that? How engaging is that? How freeing is that to just be so fully present in the moment that you don't need to be rehearsing what you are going to say when another person is talking. Why are we rehearsing? Because we want to look good, maybe. We want to get their approval. Maybe we want to look intelligent or wise. These are all of the ego, all of it. But our core self does not need one single thing in life to be any different than it is. And that includes you, that includes your so-called enemies, and that includes all the so-called calamities of the world. Does that mean you can't take action to do so-called good in the world? No, it doesn't mean that. It means that action arises out of divine inspiration, out of that place of stillness and silent intelligence within. But again, you don't have to believe me with that. We're just exploring. I don't want to add to one single belief that you have. I want to offer a way out of the box that you've put yourself in. Are you ready to take the nails out of the box? Are you ready to bust out of the box, to experience the freedom, the truth, the peace, the joy, the love that you are right now in this moment and every moment? So we're exploring what you're holding on to. So I invite you to let go of waiting for something else to happen in order to be the truth that you are. Maybe you're waiting for more money. Maybe you're waiting for the right healing. Maybe you're waiting to heal an addiction or heal the relationship with your spouse or partner or friend. These are all plays of the ego. And I'm inviting you to let all of that waiting go. No more waiting. And so what else is blocking us from the truth of who we are? All these ideas and stories that tell us that we're not enough, we should be this way or we should be that way. And we take this on, and that becomes our egoic self, becomes our ego, where our ego is formed out of all beliefs that are based and rooted in duality of good and bad, right and wrong. That's all of the mind. So I invite you to let go of your need to do everything right. Because what is right? And if you're listening to your mind, if the mind is your God, your master, and you're listening to the mind, it will have plenty to say of what is right and wrong. But it will have no comprehension of what it means to transcend that. Because the mind is logical. And it's just a giant recorder of good and bad, and it is certainly wanting to tell you exactly what you need to do in order to be happy. And yet, it cannot understand happiness itself. So everything the mind is trying to coach you on, is all rooted in duality and illusion. Because how can it help you to become happy when it cannot understand it itself? How can you ever perform miracles if the mind is only trapped in logic. If there is truth to what Jesus has accomplished in this world, and many other teachers, by the way, have raised people from the dead, even in the Bible, the Apostle Paul raised people from the dead. Yogananda speaks of it, but there are many, many documentations of this. So, miracles are abound. And that's the natural truth of who you are. And in fact, when you transcend the mind, transcend the logical mind, and its belief of what is possible, you see that it's not even a miracle at all. It's just who you are. Formless and infinite possibilities. And the only thing that limits us is the limitations we place on ourselves. Who places those on ourselves? It's the ego believing the what the mind has said as the truth. If I ever have a thought that says, I can't do this or I can't do that, I recognize it's a mind right away. Now, I'm not asking you to believe any of this, but what if the only reason we age is because we believe we age? There is stories of the yogi and avatar Babaji, who is said to be the deathless guru that always is here for humanity. True, not true, you don't need to believe me on that. I'm just inviting you to explore the possibilities that perhaps it's only a belief that we need. There's breatharians on this earth that live here right now that feed off the energy of the sun and don't eat anything. Possible? Not possible? Your mind would say it's absolutely not possible, and maybe even say, why do I even want to be a part of this meditation? That's nonsense. Notice that thought. Where does that thought come from? And I'm not debating whether these are true or not true. I'm not interested in debating that. I have my own experience. You get to have your own experience. I'm just offering you some awareness of how the mind thinks and how it limits you from expanding into conscious awareness where all things are possible. And you don't have to believe me on that as well. We're just exploring. We're just on a little adventure. So what else blocks you from recognizing the truth of who you are right this moment? Anything where you're trying or putting effort forth is coming from the mind. So I invite you to let go of all trying, all effort, at least if you're open for it, at least for this meditation. There's no trying, no effort, no doing required for this meditation. You're just being consciously aware of all of it. Consciously aware of my voice, consciously aware of the thoughts and ideas that I share. And I don't even know if I like the word idea, because there's something deeper flowing through right now that is, to me, beyond an idea. So we don't need to put any agenda or intentions with this meditation. We're just being empty. And I also invite you to let go of all of your attachments and desires. And sometimes people have recognized that desires and attachments are really the source of all stress. And why are they the source of all stress? Because it's only when we want life to be a certain way that it creates problems for us. Right? If life gives an experience and we flow with it, then we're good. We can be at peace. We can experience the joy and the love and the perfection of the moment. But the mind has all these different ideas of what we need in order to be happy. But again, I remind you that the mind itself does not know what happiness is. Yes, we may have temporary moments of joy, of love, of peace, but none of these can be sustaining, because the mind is always on the prowl, always on the lookout for what is wrong in its eyes. And it's always seeking ways to correct that wrong. So it will find ways to either try to correct you, try to correct others, or try to correct life. And sometimes that means even manipulating others and manipulating life in order to get what it thinks we need. In and of itself, that is not a problem whatsoever. Why? It's only a problem if we believe what the mind is saying as the truth. And that's where all troubles come from. The situation is never the problem. The situation is never the problem, only our reaction to it. So if you're responding out of angst, anxiety, wanting it to be different than what it is, then it will be a problem. But if the situation arises and you just even move into a place of gratitude for it, to know that whatever life is presenting you it's on your side. God is on your side. And all the things that you are being given by life, by God, by the universe, every single thing is here to support you in your awakening. And sometimes, at least from our mind's perspective, we feel challenged, we feel frustrated and angry and disappointed and all these different kinds of things sometimes. Why? Because there's something that we're identifying with as if it's the truth that this thing needs to be different than what it is. Do you see that? Our mind has hooked us in where we've identified with some truth to say this thing has to be a certain way in order for me to be happy. But life says, I'm giving you this thing in order for you to discreate that illusion, that belief that is not true. So when practicing meditation, we practice coming back to being aware of the breath. And then thoughts arise, and we practice not listening, not empowering, not fighting with or trying to correct the thoughts or analyze the thoughts in any way, because it is just a thought. So the practice in this meditation, and my meditations right now, are to Just simply allow the thoughts to gently, easily, and effortlessly pass on by, because they are not who you are. Muji quite often uses the example of the clouds passing by. You notice the clouds, but you don't need to fix them or change them or analyze them or fight them or struggle with them in any way. Why? Because you know that they are not who you are. But are you the thoughts? Because if you are the thoughts, then who is it that is consciously aware of the thoughts? If you are the thoughts, who is it that is aware of the thoughts? But the thoughts cannot be aware of you. Do you exist? How do you know that you exist? There is an awareness, there is a consciousness there. Life could not be possible without a consciousness and awareness that is there. Anything could happen, but if there's no awareness of it, there's nothing. There's no experience. There's nothing to experience. Life cannot be there. So life requires consciousness. It requires awareness in order for life to exist, in order for you to exist. So is there anything else that is blocking you from recognizing the truth of who you are? I invite you to let go of your need to be right about anything. All those things that you believe are true and you are right. Even truth, what people call truth, is a belief, is it not? If we're coming from the ego, from the mind, it's all just another belief. I'm inviting you to transcend the mind, transcend the thoughts, transcend the beliefs, transcend the feelings, the experiences, the memories, even transcending all the knowledge that you have collected in your mind. Because remember, knowledge can either be, I'm going to use the words good or bad. They can certainly be used for evil. It's been done for millennia on evil perpetrators in the world. Some of the people that we would judge as, some of the most heinous crimes in the world are very knowledgeable. So we're transcending the mind and the beliefs and even the knowledge to a place of stillness, a place of pure beingness that just simply is. Truth resides in the stillness, in the nothingness, where there is only the love, peace, and joy of who you are. Again, I'm not asking you to believe me on that. But I am inviting you to let go of all those things that you believe are true and right. And I will say this: people get trapped by so much in politics, in religion, in life, by hooking into what they think they know is the truth. And we've all done it, only to realize, okay, wow, I really thought I knew what I was talking about. I really thought this was the truth. I really thought, and so we begin to recognize that we thought something to be the truth. And I invite you to let go of any judgments that you have of yourself, of others, the blame, where we've fallen prey to believing that we were right or wrong, or others were right or wrong, that was based on a truth that came from the mind of what it believed was true. And as you can see, as we sort through this, I'm essentially inviting you to empty out and let go of everything. And you might have the thought from your mind, if I let go of everything, there will be nothing left. But there is one thing that will remain, and that is you. And you are the nothingness, you are the emptiness, you are the formlessness. But the only way you will be able to realize this truth is to let go of that which blocks you from realizing that. So we're going to begin to segue into more of the stillness and the silence. But then again, your mind may be very busy, and that's okay. You're just going to observe the breath, and when thoughts come in, you're going to simply notice them, be aware of them, and allow them to easily and effortlessly pass on by, because like the cloud, they are not who you are. It's just the monkey mind. It's just the mind being busy. And you don't have to be trapped into listening to it, or certainly not believing it. It has its own perspective, which not only is it limiting, but quite often damaging if we believe that to be true. And as soon as you become aware of the thought, just simply coming back to the present moment to be consciously aware of your breath. And we use the breath because there's nothing that you need to do. There's no effort, no trying. You're simply witnessing the breath. And when you do that, it brings you back to the present moment and brings you back home to who you are. The one who is conscious awareness of the breath, of the thought, of my voice, of life, of feelings, of all of it. And just coming back to being aware of the breath. And if your mind has drifted, just simply coming back to being consciously aware of your breath. And again, just coming back to being aware of your breath and just fully, if there's anything you're holding on to, fully letting go and fully surrendering into this present moment and to life itself. And there's no trying or effort with that. It's just a choice. And then come back to being aware of your breath. So we're going to begin to bring this meditation to a completion. And if you'd like to continue meditating, please mute or turn your device off. And thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate that. And for those of you who are ready to finish, just taking in a nice deep breath. Making sure you're fully rooted in this physical body that supports you in this life on this planet. And maybe moving your body a little bit, stretching. And taking your time and opening your eyes whenever you're ready. And I'm just going to take a quick peek in Facebook and YouTube and just see who's out there, if there's any comments or anything. So let's see. Oh, Sandy, you're. I'm guessing that's still you, and there's somebody else out there. There's 4 people initially, but thanks for joining, Sandy, and to whoever else is out there. Also, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. I love having company along with me on this whole thing. So, and let's go over to Facebook and see what we've got there. I guess it was Facebook here, yeah. So, okay, Sharon, Michelle. I misspoke on my layout is different. It used to be Facebook was on top and YouTube was on the bottom, and it's changed now. So I was thinking 4 people are on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, that's strange, but it was 4 people on Facebook. So in any case, thank you guys so much for joining. I really appreciate it, and have yourself a beautiful day, and maybe I'll see you tomorrow morning. Okay, all right, love you guys. All right, bye.